Being clutch in any competition is tough to do. For the fan, it's why you watch. For the player, it's how you earn your glory. And just like in sports, esports has its own clutch moments. And when it comes to Rocket League, well, we've got plenty.
Find one goal. Are you kidding? This ball is sent into Fenway. It was beautiful. AJG off the post. Nobody's around. And it's a breakaway chance. Then wide open. There it goes. Vitality. Is there? He puts it over the edge. Oh, and he does it.
Before we jump into players, it's important to define our terms. There's probably a lot of ways to evaluate how clutch a player truly is in the game of Rocket League, and while we can't go over every single way, there is a new RLCS stat that I think is a pretty fair and interesting judge on clutchness. So when I think of the most clutch moments, I think of a few things. I think of a game-winning shot in basketball, a walk-off home run in baseball, a putt to win a major. All these things have something in common. The game ends the second the player makes the game-winning play. And in Rocket League, we have something of similar magnitude: overtime. If you're new to Rocket League, overtime is a pretty simple thing to understand. After 5 minutes of regulation, if the game is still tied, it's reset to a kickoff and time starts counting up indefinitely. The players play until someone scores, and at that point, the game is over. Some overtimes only go for a few seconds.
Daniel though to receive it immediately from the kickoff, and
some go for over 12 minutes in front of a crowd of thousands.
Find one goal. Are you kidding? Top left slot. This ball is sent into Fenway.
Overtime goals are significant because almost 21% or 1/5 of games in the RLCS went to overtime during the 2023 season. So a logical conclusion would be that the player who scored the most overtime goals has to be in the running for most clutch player in the league, right? Well, let's talk about it. The title of most clutch could be found through various metrics of overtime scoring. For instance, we could start by simply looking at the player who scored the most overtime goals. In the RLCS, the season is divided into 3 different splits, each split ending with an offline LAN and after 9 months of competition, a world championship. If you count up all the overtime goals for every player in every region and combine online and LAN events together, the highest total comes out to 25 overtime goals by a single player. And that player happens to be K-Corp's own Itachi.
Exotic up the wall, doesn't get hit either way, he's off the challenge, in comes Itachi!
He's left it for Exotic, anybody else coming up? Itachi for the win!
But Joya won't be able to get a piece of it, actually sets it up in midfield, Astral in a tough spot, Exotic's up looking for the bump, but Itachi is the one that carries it all the way through!
Just a little flow, didn't use too much boost, but can he... Oh! Shot from Itachi, no! Itachi calls game!
Just edging out apparently Jack by a couple goals, Itachi scored the most overtime goals compared to any other player in the 2023 season. Over 9 online regionals, Itachi scored 20 overtime goals for his K-Corp squad. Couple that with at least 1 goal at every LAN this season, Itachi makes a great case for most clutch. But with only 5 of his 25 goals coming on LAN, maybe Itachi isn't your guy. So let me offer up another player who under some different criteria might pique your interest. Our second clutch player is actually 2 players. While neither player has more overall overtime goals than Itachi, they do have the most goals on LAN. Being clutch means doing it under any amount of pressure, and under this criteria, we add the real-world pressure of clutching up in front of thousands of screaming fans. This is where even the best players could crack. These 2 players lead the league in overtime winning goals on LAN.
Oh, shot there! Joyo! Very solid, that's a free ball for Joyo. Shot is in!
The place was out, but that's completely open. That's Radosin to shoot! That's Radosin to crack the blue wall!
With some space, numbers advantage, pinch pass out to the middle. No one back!
With 9 goals apiece, both Moist Joyo and Vitality's Radosin share the crown of most goals on land in the 2023 season. In fact, both players scored exactly 7 goals through 3 majors and exactly 2 goals at the World Championship. Both players had over 50% of their overtime winning goals come on land, and with 17 and 18 overall goals respectively, they both sit in the top 10 for most overtime goals in the 2023 season. But maybe that answer doesn't satisfy you either. We can go one step deeper if you want. How about the most overtime goals with the biggest stakes on the biggest stage? There's one more player that the analytics can give us. Which player scored the most number of overtime goals at the World Championship? After all, that's where the most pressure lies. Thousands packed into a venue, 360 degrees of fans watching your every move on stage. And with $2 million on the line, this is where clutch players can make their name. The North American player Hoxer hit what was considered the peak of his career back in 2019 at the RLCS Season 8 World Championship. After a 9th-12th finish with United, turmoil struck the next season, finishing 9th in North America and missing out on the International Championship. Since then, Hoxer had been on a few promising North American teams between Xset and Ghost Gaming, but neither team found the same success that United procured. At this point, a lot of players would have chalked themselves up to being washed, but Hoxer was given another shot, and boy did he take it.
From just behind the midfield line as well from LJ. Look, SSG, it felt like by far the better of the two, but they haven't got the goal they need. Now they do!
Constantly, it's just dump, hoping to get back to the ball. Stad finally does, but he loses to LJ. Here's the shot! No! Space Station! Take it to game 6!
That first touch, control up the wall was bonkers. LJ, he's feeling it right now. There's a demo! There's the goal! Space Station hit Rule 1 with a space laser!
Hoxer joined Space Station, going from a failing, almost last-placed Ghost Gaming to a 6th-place team who eventually qualified for Worlds. And in his first time back at a World Championship, Hoxer helped lead his team to a top 8 finish. Which brings us to his stats today, post-Worlds. Hoxer had a whopping total of 8 overtime goals during the entire 2023 season. Not even close to the same numbers that players like Itachi or apparently Jack were putting up. But in those 8 overtime goals, 5 of them were on land, meaning 62% of his overtime goals came at Worlds. Hoxer, in one land, the biggest land Rocket League had ever seen, in his one split with his new team, scored more overtime goals on land than apparently Jack or Exotic, 2 players that attended all 4 lands this season. Whether you like consistency in the overall season, the highest total at land, or just the guy who clutches up in the biggest stage, every player mentioned was clutch in some capacity. I'm curious what your pick is. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.